welcome back. We are once again joined by Lost Without a Trace, Scorched Ace 97, Ari Cypress Everly, Greymane Gaming, and More Than 56. And in our last episode, Luther was getting himself pulled away by the Popo.
Luther under arrest? What?
Luther is under arrest.
That is so surprising.
Isn't
Luther
it?
is definitely under duress.
Sarcasm.
And Zaram Adion himself showed up to lead the arrest party. And Luther has taken off all of his gear, aside from his armor, and is carrying his non-magical versions of his weapons.
Bring the ring of teleportation.
I'm sorry, I don't got one of those, but he still has his lockpicks just in case. He's also still has the elven boots and the trickster's gloves, because the trickster's gloves are invisible and the boots are. He's not taking his boots off again.
Right.
Yeah. But like he's as ready as he can be for either a fight or a potential chance to potentially need to sneak out.
Luther,
And
give
it's-
me a animal check.
Animal handling.
Yeah. All right. You notice nothing. Aside from the fact that, Runa's coming with you. And Zaram is like, she's not going to cause any problems, right?
No, she shouldn't. She's not had any issues with anyone that hasn't tried to kill me.
Well, I'm trying not to have to do that.
So, yeah, if you want me to tell her to stay, I'll tell her to stay.
That's your call.
As far as I'm trying to keep this as amiable as possible, so I think we're okay.
All right. So, whoop. Everybody leaves. What are you guys doing at the place? We'll give them some walking time.
Transforms into something small that you can't be seen following them. Oh, never mind.
He was definitely here last night.
I can send Echo, but that's the best I can do. But it's the middle of the day, isn't it?
It's mid-morning.
So, Echo can't. Echo can see, but it's probably not super comfortable for Echo.
All right. At this point, we are going to have, coming from the other direction, so that they don't run into each other. That's where you show up. Starlight, thank you for the raid.
I got a dinner bell, la 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 la. Dinner bell, yee-hoo. Welcome, Raiders. Triggy's got the best dinner bell ever.
Thank you all for coming in. We are in a mid-chapter of the game. Right now, our players are Twiggy, who is a Dreven, which is a homebrew plant-based race. She is a Hulamancer, which is a homebrew plant-based homebrew wizard class that produces all of their magic during long rests and then hands them out as if each individual spell is a ring of spell storing. We have Cassidius Wardell, who is a level 5 human Order of the Scribes wizard. We have Adaya, who is a level 5 banished diva. Assume that to be the same as a Aasimar, effectively. Battlemaster fighter. We have Vanwath Dalathan, who is a level 5 Dustborn elf. Dustborn means he's dead, but didn't stay dead. Oath of Vengeance paladin. And Luther Fox, who is a level 5 human swashbuckling rogue. And I just realized I made a mistake here because that should not be a level 5 human. Cassius Wardell, that should be a level 5 Aasimar Cassius Wardell. Just for clarity. Everybody, thank you very much for coming in. if you want a little bit of backstory in the previous episodes, overlay looks cool. Thank you very much. I spelled that wrong.
Because you said E-list?
Yes. There we go. If you want to check out the previous episodes of the campaign, they are there. Episodes are posted up in 1 block increments. When we play the game, it is Tuesday nights from 8 p.m. to midnight, where we normally get 3 1-hour blocks done. Because, I mean, you never get 4 hours of game out of 4 hours of game. And then also on Thursday nights, we have a brand new campaign that just started last week, which is GM'd by that man in the corner, Morton 56, of which me, Greymane, and Ace are players. So if you want to see that campaign, make sure to stop by on Tuesday. But thank you all very much for coming in on Thursday. Thank you all very much for coming in. Have a seat. Enjoy yourselves. And Twiggy is just coming back from being from visiting the blacksmith.
Twiggy will come around the building to the stable side and let Pickles into the stables and head to the kitchen to hang up her Dinnerbell.
Okay.
And then ready it to scare everyone because I don't know she has it yet.
We have so many Twiggies on the screen.
So many Twiggies.
Bonus Twiggy!
I'm going to erase all the Twiggies and then put in a new Twiggy because I don't know which one you were on. But we have 3 Twiggies.
So many Twiggies.
There we go.
So what you're saying is I suddenly hear a loud clanging of metal 2 rooms away.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going that way very quickly.
Lyra whirls around and comes running in the room. And it is at this point that Twiggy sees Lyra in a human form.
But I recognize the shield, right?
The shield and the spears, and her eyes don't look like human eyes. They still look like canine-styled eyes, if you know what I mean, just in a human head.
Like, oh! We've been working some more magics?
Stop short when I suddenly realized it's just Twiggy.
It's just Twiggy.
Metal noises.
I got... It is the big who did it. Yes. Now this is a bell. Yes. And you're not quite. Can you help me hang it up so I can do the pong pongs?
I look at it quizzically, like I look at everything.
Did she send back the tongues yet?
What's that?
I sent across the purchase for the tongues. I didn't actually write a letter, so I'm not filling up massive amounts of letters just to buy something. So I sent over a purchase for tongues and the 3 sets of 3 spell levels worth of paper and ink.
Okay. Then
the Arcanology.
Yeah. Okay. If you drop them in the bag, then you'll get them back in about an hour.
Okay.
So, so
then I am correct.
Figure out when that happens. Yeah. Okay. Continue conversating.
I hang up the Dinnerbell and I'm like, why are you all dressed up? You've got so many things going on. Do you learn how to use the pin, or are we just doing other new nifty magic things?
Who were you talking to? We couldn't tell.
I was talking to Lyra with
okay.
her new not fuzzy form.
And probably gesturing to her, so she probably knows she's talking.
Yes.
She cancels the spell. Going back to fuzzy form.
Fuzzy. Fuzzy, yes.
And says, Lyra magic.
Lyra is magic, yes. Lyra makes magic. Decidius makes the magics. I cook the magics in the big pot, yes. And now it's not a magic dinner bell, it's a big dinner bell. And then the dinner bell goes ding, everyone comes to do the eats. And also, bonus, I will scurry into my pantry / bedroom / cubby and then change into my new armor. Like back out, like ta-da! Stone cookie.
Yep, I have to make a new. I have the image done. I just don't have it uploaded on the token for what your
No
new
worries.
armor looks like.
I've already equipped on my card, so I'm just making that out there. I found the equipped button. I'm so proud of me.
Ironically enough, the mounted Twiggy picture is using the new armor. So if anybody wants to see a little bit more what it looks like that.
Cool, mounted Twiggy in the armor.
Oh.
Yes.
So, go ahead.
No, I was like, okay, so what does everyone want for the dinner tonight? Any requests? We did get a very nice sausage. No?
And we will cut over to Morden. We will cut over to Luther, currently in custody. So, Luther, under armed guard of half a dozen men, is brought into Zaram's office.
He doesn't look disconcerted by this even remotely throughout the whole thing.
I mean, for him, it's just a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And as he enters Zaram's office, you notice that there is a old woman, fairly disheveled, like she's had a rough night, kind of disheveled. A little bit of like soot stain on the face. And he has you stand inside of the circle of armed guards. He walks over to the dais that's in the middle of his office. And asks it slices, again, looks at the two of you, says truth hurts, slices his hand, bleeds onto the dais, and then asks the woman to step forward. He again explains that this dais is a zone of magic, which operates as a zone of truth and also acts as a anti-magic shield for any magic being able to interrupt the conversation or affect the conversation on the dais. So there can be no divination, no scrying, no control from outside sources that can affect the conversation occurring inside the dais. You can still hear this if you're in the room because sound travels through, because sound is not magical. It is not also a cone of silence. So he turns to the woman and says, "What is your name?" "I am Greta Merwood," she says in a crackly old lady voice, which I'm not even going to try to butcher.
Luther would step onto the dais with no, because he's already done this before.
As you start to walk forward, he kind of motions for you to hang back for a second.
Okay. He would stop then.
Yeah. So, in your own words, Miss Merwood, can you tell me what happened last night? And she's like, "Oh, sure. So, me and my husband, Sigurd Merwood, were in bed because it was the middle of the night. And I heard a crashing noise, so I got up to look, and then I saw someone standing outside the house looking up and in the window. And then I smelled smoke, and I turned and I looked and saw that the other room was on fire, so I woke my husband up, and we had to climb out the back window of the bedroom, and the house was on fire, and then the town guard came and put out the fire in the middle of the night. He says, okay. And did you get a look at the face of the man? And she was, oh, yes. He was very blatantly standing in the middle of the street, looking in the window as I was looking out to see what happened. And who did you see? And she goes, that man, and points at directly at Luther. And then Zarim says, okay, can you please step out of the circle and sit over there? Pointing to the other side of the room where there are 4 men with shields who will be between her and Luther at any point. And once she is behind the 4 men with shields, he gestures over to you to step into the circle.
Luther would step into the circle.
Okay. I assume you are going to voluntarily fail your saving throw.
Yep. He's not resisting this at all, because at this point he's like, yeah, I definitely wasn't there, so I have no reason to lie.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So, once again, what is your name?
Luther Fox.
Okay, Luther. Where were you around midnight last night?
And where exactly was I? Were we actually at the house, or were we still walking back?
You were traveling back from the thing that you did.
I was traveling back to our home from a camp.
Okay. Were you alone while you were traveling?
No, my crew was with me, and so was the Fountain View.
He looks over to one of his sergeants and just goes, Blaze. Sergeant nods and walks out. You hear him grabbing 2 or 3 men from the compound as they head out the door. Can you tell me why this woman clearly, and since my circle is working, definitely saw you when you also, he looks to her, clearly, definitely wasn't in town?
That is a very interesting question. I cannot answer it because there is only one of me.
Well,
And,
last night there was 2. Because I don't believe you're strong enough to be able to lie while standing on this dais. And I can tell you for a fact, Miss Merwood's house was burned down. And I don't think she's strong enough to lie while standing in this dais either.
That's a rather interesting predicament, because I have no idea how it happened, because I definitely wasn't there. Because I was still walking back, and I was very tired by the time we were done.
Okay. I'm not a man that likes mysteries.
I'm not liking this mystery either.
I'm going to suggest, not demand, not even request, but suggest that no members of the Verdant Company leave town for the next couple days while I'm doing research and investigations on whatever happened.
We weren't intending to anyway. We were in fact going to try and set up a stall of sorts.
You wanted to sell things in offhands?
If I was able to, I was going to try.
All right. You need a permit. He steps off the dais and walks over to his desk. Scribbles out a writ for a minute. Brings it back over to you and goes, "This'll give you a week."
Okay. If we need more, I will be back to talk.
Normally, there's a cost for this. In this case, consider it gratis to help try to make sure that you and the Verdant Company are in town for a week.
Okay. Like I said, we are not intending to leave anytime soon. And yeah, I hope that we can deal with this quickly.
So, to your knowledge, everyone in your company was with you last night?
Yes, everyone was with us, and we came straight back to the Verdant Company house. We didn't like stop or anywhere along the way because we were all fairly tired.
Is there anyone who would have reason to want to implicate you in an arson case?
I don't know of anyone offhand because I'm fairly new to town, so I don't really know many people yet.
Okay. If you come up with anything, make sure you let me know, because this is in everyone's best interest to make sure this goes away quietly.
Understood.
Do you need an escort back, or do you want to travel on your own?
I think I'll be fine.
All right.
Me and Runa should be okay.
Then you're excused.
I'm assuming I had stepped off the DS already. And
Yeah.
He will leave and start walking back towards the house after he, collects Runa.
Okie doke.
We'll also collect the paperwork to let him, sell stuff for a week.
What spell effect is that? By the way.
What was that?
Oh, mostly asking Ace.
I'm sorry, say that again.
What spell effect is that?
Sorry, I was waiting until we were finished, but for that next hour, I'm doing Glyph of Warding.
Okay, so that's what that effect is?
I just created a circle and put a background to it.
Fair enough. I would recommend you don't use that black background.
Yeah.
I know why you picked it, because it looks like a glyph. Also, I wouldn't use that glyph.
Yeah. History buffs are not going to be happy with that glyph.
But I appreciate the effort. All right, Luther. You are back. Oh, and Aruna. Boop.
Luther would just walk right in, like,
Yep.
and just keep going. So, anybody still here, or did something happen while I was gone?
I got a
How
bell.
long was he
Just
gone?
walked right past Cass.
About 45 minutes
Okay,
ish.
so yeah, I'm still sitting on the ground, drawing out this sigil on
Okay,
the ground.
so I actually passed you. All right.
Yeah,
Never
you
mind. I
actually
would
got
have stopped right at the door and looked at Cass for a moment and said, "What are you doing?"
Creating. If you're gonna come in, you better come in before this finishes.
Okay. He walks past Cass. What are you creating, Cass?
Basically, if anyone that I don't determine or doesn't have proper entry, they, it'll set this off.
Is it gonna burn anything?
No, I physically cannot do fire. So,
No, well, no, you
It-
definitely can do fire. We've
will not do
accomplished
fire.
this. Okay. Okay, I'll get more from you later when you're not distracted. Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, man.
Hey there. What was that about?
Apparently, I burned down some old lady's house.
It was that signal flare, wasn't it?
I don't really understand. I've been in two places at once, apparently, because I was standing in a zone of truth and said my piece, and she was in a zone of truth and said hers, and neither one of us were lying. So apparently, I was in two places at once.
Well, actually, she could have been lying.
I mean, it's fair. She could have been lying. I technically could have been, but I decided not.
To be for the record, he would have known if she was attempted if she did. He would have known if she tried to make the save. He wouldn't have known whether she succeeded or failed, but he would have known that she did not voluntarily take a 0. And if that had been the case, he wouldn't have taken her statement until she left the dais and walked back in.
Okay.
Ah.
So as far as I am aware on how
Now,
that
it
circle
is
works,
possible that she did some kind of tomfoolery even beyond that. However, to give you that information, the way that his circle operates is he knows if someone is
Hiding around it.
he knows if someone attempted the save or not. He does not know if they succeeded or failed, but he knows whether or not they attempted the save.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have the ability, Zone of Truth.
His works a little
Yeah.
bit different than the spell, but yes,
So
yeah.
it's
I'm
mostly
basing
that
it-
way.
Yeah, I'm kind of basing the knowledge on my knowledge of the spell.
So
or ability.
yeah, so that's the thing. Now, this is going to be one of those moments of the Commander Zadok is hopefully going to find out before I'm forced to do something, and if not, then he will be the second person who knows. Because the first person will be them when I am pinning them to a wall. But yes, so that's the thing. I am also hungry, so I'm gonna go talk to Twiggy now.
Careful, she was cooking.
I am hoping that that is the case, and let's hope that we don't suddenly get weird salads again. Unless I'm about to start selling the salads for lots of money, in which case I'm good. Also, I got a writ for the stall. I'm good to go now. I didn't know we needed one, but I told him, so he gave me one.
Excellent. Whenever you're ready, then.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sir, you got sausages tonight?
Oh, good. Thank you. I need something to eat. I am starving and confused.
Yep.
Okay, snack plate coming up.
You're not setting anything on fire, are you, Cass?
Why did you?
No, this to be directly no to be exact. This is not going to do fire. This is not going to produce anything but sound wave.
Okay.
I've got the sound
Yes.
wave. Have you
Can
seen
you
my
hear?
new belt?
You hear kind of not under his breath, but a lot not addressing you, just very loud sound waves. And can I say the hour is up at that point?
Yeah, we're good.
So as he says that, he will like slam his hand to the middle, and all these arcane runes were just drawn in these like spiraling geometric patterns. And as he slams his hand in the middle, this ripple goes across, and the arcane runes almost vibrate and then become next to invisible. Like you have to really look to see that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And for DM,
Mm-hmm.
Glyph of Warding,
Yep.
they have to have the pin.
Okay.
they will have a password, which I will make up and let you know.
Okay.
Or, actually, it's one of those two. Otherwise,
You can
if
also
that's
specifically clear individuals. I believe.
I was just looking at the spell. I don't think I can. That's why I was saying the pins. Let me double check to be safe. Spellbook. Where did this go?
Also, what is the trigger for the glyph?
Stepping on it.
Okay.
You decide what triggers the glyph.
Oh, I'm thinking of
That would be
I'm
the
thinking of
stepping.
Arcane Lock. You're right. You're
Yes. So right now I'm setting a trap.
right. Arcane Lock is persons or passwords. This is
Correct.
this one is items or passwords. Right.
Yep. So I'm saying if they have the pin on them or if they say a password, the thing won't go off. Otherwise, if anything steps on it, it's doing thunder damage. Is what I'm prepping
Okay.
this to do. So nothing permanent, just very loud sound waves.
Okay. Doke.
That is now, and I made sure to pull it back that there's enough room, and I might even pull it back ever so slightly more. I want someone to be able to stand right in the doorway,
Mhm.
but anything like past right in that doorway,
Right.
they're stepping on the sigil.
Yep. Nope. That's good.
Cool. So then that finishes. I will stand up, kind of crack my back because I've been down there for an hour. Is it time for food yet?
It is about noon.
I could use some lunch.
Okay.
You want to grab some lunch, Ben?
Sure.
Awesome.
Cass, I ate your lunch.
Some
He walks through
delicious
the door.
smells going on in the kitchen. And it's
I
like,
mean, it's
okay,
a-
you all sit down. You make it the things, and then when they're ready in a few minutes, I ring the bell, new bell, shiny bell. Look at the shiny bell, and then
Okay.
What the heck was that noise?
She got a bell.
That didn't sound like a bell.
Hey, Twiggy, do you have
More
four
accurately
more
a
of those
triangle.
pins handy?
what, Handy?
Do you have 4 more of those pins handy?
Yeah.
So, I put something up front that should help dissuade anybody from entering. I'll put a lock on the door as soon as I can figure out how to do that type of magic. But right now there is a trap sitting in front of our door, and anybody who doesn't know the password or doesn't have a pin cannot get in.
Okay.
So, I believe we are pretty good friends with the Fountain View 4.
I'll be right back. I gotta extend. Keep going.
I was going to offer them pins instead of offering them passwords.
I think
No.
you want to give them a minute before you walk over there.
What do you mean? Oh,
Because I just got pulled away, and when they were talking to me, they sent an armed group of guards over to talk to them.
wonderful. Okay, well, again, I can. Well, actually, my plan
I
was.
mean, I have to
send
go over there
Echo.
to apologize to them because we drugged them into this, in at least in a sense. And then I also want to go and try and figure out who may or may not want to piss me off enough to do something stupid.
Well, then
You got
go
dragged? Where? Where you get dragged?
I was arrested, and I just got back.
Politely
So,
arrested. Asked
yes.
to come along.
Politely arrested.
I'll tell you this much, Twiggy. This was the first time they've asked me to come along. There's normally a blackjack involved and a few other unpleasant items being used, so I decided to be nice. By the way, Cass, where's my bag?
Oh, it's go in the study and around the corner.
Lovely.
Arrested.
He walks
I
to go,
went-
he
I
grabs
looked
his bag
for-
and puts his pulls out the new rapier and all that good stuff to make sure he's got the real things with him now.
I went out for an hour and you got arrested.
Not the first time, not the last time. Probably the most pleasant experience though.
Luna, what did he do? I'm literally talking to the dog. What did he do?
I would just assume Runa barks back.
The
Oh,
Runa
yes, I know
looks
he
at you
always
and
does
just
that. But
looks at you and just shakes her head.
no. Oh, he didn't. Okay, well that's good. This time I guess he didn't.
Every time I didn't. I was never actually convicted of anything that I'm aware of.
Okay. So
This time, though, apparently, I burnt down an old lady's house and stood outside staring in the window.
All right.
So I'm not the only one that's lighting things on fire. We see how this is now.
That's
Except
not
for
a justification.
It is. See, now I've got permission.
see,
No.
Luther's
Somebody
doing it.
now is
see, Caster,
associating.
there's a slight problem with this that you're missing. This happened at the exact same time we had just got done dealing with the Nolden, and we're coming back.
Okay, do we think it's...
And
I
they
mean,
looked exactly like me.
Okay, did we not have a... I'm sorry, DM, I'm going to say it wrong. I'm
Okay.
going to guess. Devil?
Correct.
Yes. Did we not have a devil offer us something, we say no, and then they probably got pissed about that, and they're now trying to take it back on us and make us regret it?
Or they could also just be writing up a new contract to try and get you to sign because you seem the most likely to sign one.
The only we've already clarified this. The only reason I was going to sign was to end the conversation and get him away.
That's a bad
So,
way to end that conversation.
As a very quick aside, Ace, what are the specific triggers for the glyph of warding?
All right, hang on.
This is one of those things where,
Let me make the password.
This is one of those things where lawyer domain becomes a thing in game, unfortunately.
All right, give me a second. Let me type them out. Let me make sure I got everything I want.
Okay. If you're gonna type it out, so I have a written copy, that's perfect. We'll allow that to go as it is.
Anything that passes through the space that does not have this or has not said the password.
So that would include houseflies.
Right, and that was the joke, and that's also why I'm not the one writing the letter.
Yeah, and that's where it becomes the thing, because remember, anything that is
Are
a
we
1/8
really
hit.
doing, like house flies.
I'm not going to say houseflies, but am I going to say one? Like at what
Like a
is the
rat?
minimum? What is the minimum CR?
Like, what's the smallest you're talking?
Do you want it to go off if Cobalt Sneak in the house? Do you not want it to go off if Cobalt Sneak in the house?
Okay.
Because as soon as you want it to go off if Cobalt Sneak in the house, it's also going to go off if any stray dog hits the area, because they're the same CR. Unless you put in a specific, like, you can set the triggers so they can be minimum of a certain height, minimum of a certain weight, technically minimum of a certain CR. Like, you can set specifics, but
What's CR? Some kind of sentience quotient?
basically the new version of threat rating.
Okay.
It's creature rating. And it's a number that has absolutely no accurate value
Nothing except lawyer
whatsoever.
value. Nothing except lawyer value for writing wards and glyphs.
Well, it's also sometimes useful for balancing out encounters, and also sometimes not useful for balancing out encounters because they're not all accurate, and some of them are better than they seem because you know how to use them right, and some are worse than they seem. And it's
Right.
like saying average player level.
Interest.
Yeah, it's like saying average player level. Not no two players, are going to have the same value. So.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay, so while this conversation is happening, and in an attempt to avoid using the area of the glyph until we know specifically what the... Now we'll use it because you guys are just going to probably wind up waving this through anyway. There is a knock at the door.
Luther, we'll go and answer it.
Okay. And we're
He's
just...
in a mood. He hopes it's a telemarketer so he can
We're-
just knock him out.
We're going to assume that if you let anyone in, which is not a definite yet, that you're going to use whatever the correct signaling is to tell the glyph to not activate when the guest walks through, for fairness. Okay.
Right.
He's currently
This is going to be one of those common things where you won't have to remind me you're doing this each time. I will assume you're doing this each time. Same as picking up arrows, yada yada. Okay. I'm not that much of a dick. You see a gentleman at the door. I don't have a figure for this at the moment. the reason for that may become relevant. He is roughly 5'10", short cropped black hair, a bit of a hooked, broken kind of looking nose. But other than that, fairly nondescript features. Pencil thin mustache, little tiny Errol Flynn goatee. Good evening.
Hello. How can I help
Oh,
you?
and he is holding a small red flag. Would you mind if I came in? I have some information that you may be interested in.
And all I see is him, correct?
Yes. He is most definitely the only person outside.
All right. Luther will let him in, and we'll bring him over to the room over here, just to the right.
Okay.
Because that's the room that gives him the least amount to look at.
Right. So the least bit of access into the base, aside from the washroom, which is just a
Right.
weird place for a washroom. Anyway,
And it's also a really weird
knows
place to
that?
have a conversation.
right?
That's true.
So he comes in, and the first thing he goes is, "Ugh," and like feels down the nose. And he goes, "I really hate this face. Do you mind if I change it?"
Okay.
And without waiting for an answer, you see his face like shifts and molds like putty, and changes to a very debonair, straight-cheeked man, with long blonde hair, still the same pencil-thin mustache and Errol Flynn goatee, however. And his clothing also completely changes around him. He has a short sword on each hip, and is wearing what looks to be leather armor, leather boots and gloves. He has 2 rings on his left hand. And other than that, really nothing discernible.
Well, that's an interesting trick.
I'm going to use divine sense.
Okay. It's not a presence of a strong evil, but it's not a presence of anything like you're getting a mild evil, but not more than perhaps like just an alignment level, not actually.
So kind of like a feeling of like something, a feel of a rogue.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Also, definitively not coming across as celestial, fiend, or undead.
All right. So honest chaos.
If you have even 1 migraine day a week, that's 52 migraine
What?
days a year.
Be quiet. I rolled over an ad, apparently. Oh, but it's okay, because I also lost connection to the server. But the stream's up, so that's a plus.
So,
I just realized something, Luther. Morden.
But
I mean, ironically, answering that question makes the roll unnecessary.
Yeah, and you're the one who set it up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I asked.
Okay, so now we know that needs to be retested. So,
Yep.
let's say yes. Good thing.
Yep, because I rolled the both ends of the spectrum.
I'm so confused.
Don't worry about it.
You better not have stolen anything from me.
I've stolen many things from you, but you don't need to worry about it either. 'cause you
But
don't
none of them
remember.
were today. All right. My name, at least as far as anyone here is concerned,
Yeah, you're naming this, guys.
is Engram Weatherby. And locally, I am known as the King of Thieves. I am here, let's say, out of a level of professional courtesy. Don't worry, I'm not interested in the five of you or anything of your or any of your stuff. I mean, I'm sure you have good stuff, but I can get good stuff easier, so I really don't care.
Did he really say 5 this time?
Yes, he really said 5 this time.
Okay. As I sit here and try to decide who he's not.
So the reason I'm here is to sell some information. Normally, this is the kind of information that I wouldn't give out, even for an exceptionally high price. However, let's say that this time around, selling this information on the cheap may be mutually beneficial.
I'm listening.
There was a thing that happened last night. It wasn't me, and I know it wasn't him, pointing to Luther. But I'm pretty sure that the two of us are the only ones who know it wasn't him.
Yeah, I just had a conversation I did not have, right? About the thing you're referring to. Yes, I definitely know it was me.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, excuse me.
Are you familiar with a man named Zelos? You don't even have to roll. You have never heard of that name before. None of you.
No.
Well, for reasons that I don't intend to go into publicly, I believe Zelos has a problem with, and he's looking at Van Wath, your friend here, pointing at Luther. And Zelos has, let's say, a natural affinity for being able to disguise himself. Now, normally, he's the kind of person that I would have expected to use his skills and abilities for financial gain. And this time he hasn't. And I can't tell you why, because I don't know.
Right. So
What was that, Morden?
I said I'm trying to figure that out myself.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you see him, you might have to ask him that. However, I can tell you again, looking at Vanweth, he's something that I don't know that you've ever dealt with.
And what would that be?
Are you familiar with a race that calls itself the Faceless?
What should I roll here? I know about it. I don't know about that.
Oh, investigation? Anybody that wants to roll? Because most of you are hearing this conversation if you choose to, because he's not hiding it at all.
Boogie has no idea.
Nope, I'm way down here.
Oh God.
I'm working on my second.
Yes.
left.
A Diane.
And I had a +1 to that roll from
Okay.
Sadie earlier.
Yes, you did.
And so did I, actually.
Okay, so Adaya gets a 20 and Vanweth gets a 5. and Luther forgets what the race is.
Forgets what his race is.
So Adaya knows that the Faceless are
I'm not hearing it. I just wanted to see what I would roll. Sorry.
okay. Adaya knows that the Faceless are a race that came through the portal.
Okay.
And that they are often used as assassins or intel specialists by the Infernal Legions, because while they have infernal blood in them, much like tieflings do, for example, they do not register as fiends. They don't register as demons or devils.
Okay.
So it is easier for them to sneak amongst mortal society. And in fact, they are a mortal race. But the thing that makes them most unique is that they are featureless. They're store mannequins. They have a height and a gender that is their own. But neither one is actually important, and they can appear as anyone plus or minus 50% of height and mass.
Okay.
And basically alter their appearance at will. They're not a doppelganger, but they're close. They're not a changeling, but they're close. They're not a devil, but they're close. And because they're not specifically anything, they are nearly impossible to detect and nearly impossible to discover, and can literally in a one game turn, in a 6-second action, completely change their appearance, so they're almost impossible to catch.
Pain in the butt. Do I know whether they came through the portals with the infernal forces willingly? Like they're
No,
no, I don't know that.
no, you don't know that.
Okay.
But they are a race that is not native
I
to
know
this
the nature
plane,
of-
that have only been here for 100+ years, and early on caused a great amount of dissension, chaos, and confusion because they are so good at infiltrating.
Okay.
And that's about the extent of the information that you have on them.
Got it.
Also, they are so good at infiltrating that when they adopt a persona, an identity that they are mimicking, they can maintain that form, maintain that identity, even when unconscious.
For an indefinite period of time.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, they shift into that thing and then basically stay that thing until they shift out of that thing. So, even if you knock them
Okay.
unconscious or kill them, you can't be sure because, I mean, the only way that you know you didn't just stab Bob the Baker is Bob the Baker is also standing next to you. But other than that, if you stab Bob the Baker to death and he falls over dead and it was a faceless,
Right.
there's a chance it stays Bob the Baker. And you don't
Right.
know if you just stabbed Bob the Baker or not.
I thought you were playing Paranoia in a separate one-shot on a Saturday.
I am, but this is also this.
Yeah, this is also another fun thing that we now have to do.
Yay! Okay.
So, do you know his common appearance? How he normally goes around?
He has a number of different guises that he uses. And even if I tell you what they were, it wouldn't matter because he could change them tomorrow. Also, I'm generally not... While I disapprove of him using his ability to frame one of you, I don't disapprove enough to give away what his identities are. I hope you can understand.
Yes. How do you spell the name for the other the one we're looking for now? And also, what was his name again?
The name of the guy that he is warning you. Well, first off, his name was
Ingram Weather.
Engram, Engramm, Weatherby, spelled as you would expect. And the individual that he is telling you may be responsible is Zelos, Zelos. I have so many things in here that I haven't used yet, and I don't have the things in here I'm using tonight. That's a good job on the PC's part.
Thank you for this information. Luther is at a loss for words at the moment. He's not like he looks concerned, but is also looking very confused and not sure what to do.
Okay. Engram just holds out his hand. And then kind of like waves the red flag around.
Right.
I mean, I honestly don't care what you give me. That's on you. Just, rules are rules.
You come into the room then. She's got those sausage plates and everything else like that. She was cooking up some nice kind of stuff there. So a nice little serving of some I'm gonna say they were deep fried. They were nice with the skill checks with our charisma, intelligence, and wisdom modifiers. Just tell a couple of stir fried veggies in there. So like to we do the trades. It's very tasty. I make you plate to go.
He looks, hand moves a little bit, and then goes, Culomancer?
First one to say it right on the first try without me telling him how to say the things. Very good. Yes, yes. You're trying
He looks over at Luther.
That's not magic.
He looks over at Luther and goes, payment accepted. Grabs a sausage.
If you also didn't hear me, he also got 2 platinum off of me for it.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm going to consider this business concluded, unless anyone has any other questions.
Nope. Luther will.
Are you really known out there for just setting things on fire?
Apparently, we are at this point.
Dang it!
And Luther will walk him to the door.
Okay. Yes, as he leaves, he just looks back at you and goes, watch yourself.
Will do.
All right.
That was a horrible pun.
I love it.
It wasn't even a pun.
Yes, it
You
was.
really just meant it exactly.
Look at
as
where the faces of all of them. Watch yourself.
And he leaves, and we will end there.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, Gray, it's possible that it's the paladin from the Flaming Order. It's possible it's anybody. It's possible it's everybody. I mean, that's how.
I mean, at this point, Luther and Twiggy have each gone and come back by themselves. It's possible it's either of them.
That's also very true.
Anytime somebody goes somewhere by themselves, it's possible it's that.
It is almost guaranteed not to be Twiggy, as Twiggy has used a class ability
Since she's been back.
since she's been back. So
True.
unless the guy that is hunting Luther is either a Culomancer or knows one and was able to fake,
Bring stuff in.
was able to palmistry cooking a meal and then replacing it with the Culomancer one, it is likely not to be Twiggy. However, nobody's checked Luther
What are we checking Luther for?
to see
I
if he's
wouldn't know
actually
how,
Luther.
right? There's no special way I know of to check them.
You can. It is a ridiculously hard difficulty roll to investigation usually to detect
observe
if someone is a
wall.
faceless, and it is almost, unless you are a faceless, it is always made at disadvantage.
Okay.
So yeah. So like it is a difficulty 20 investigation roll at disadvantage. So
Okay.
yeah. Rough stuff.
Not perception, investigation only.
Yeah. Because it's not surveying to see what something looks like.
So for example,
I
It's-
rolled a nat 1 and a nat 20.
The nat 20 would have done it if not for the nat 1. The reason why it's investigation is perception isn't enough, because perception lets you see how things look, but it's
not
the
judge.
idiosyncrasies of getting something slightly. How many 20s and 1s are we rolling tonight? That's the third one. That's insane.
is ridiculous.
I'm glad I'm not still in an area that gives disadvantage to all good characters for combat rolls.
And I have a net of -1 on my investigation.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Vanweth. You have determined that you are the assassin.
Sweet.
I've got him. He's me. What?
Well, that changes my game a bit.
See?
Dear.
So, yes. It's
Right.
it's investigation
my
because you're not
plan.
just trying to see that someone looks like a thing. It's he's shifting too much weight to the left. He's
Right.
not
It's a deeper
rolling the
level of
hand the
perception.
right way. It's knowing someone's finite motions enough to know that guy isn't moving that way.
Yeah.
Or knowing that guy who normally tries to hide his face well enough to know that the way he's moving, the way that this person who's unrelated to anyone is moving like the faceless that you're looking for. Like it goes in both
Right.
directions.
Right. If you are that familiar with that particular face, since you might know the idiosyncrasies,
Exactly.
like knowing tells
Yeah.
for gamblers or something.
Like it's in this case, it would be of everybody in the group, it would probably be Cass who would know Luther best.
Yeah.
So, Cass
And none
might
of you
not
know the
have
other guy well
advantage.
enough.
I was gonna say, could the disadvantage ever be canceled by knowing someone extraordinarily well?
There are ways to cancel the disadvantage. What would most likely happen would be if you knew someone exceptionally well, the difficulty for the check would go down,
Okay.
but not the disadvantage.
Like if I were checking Cass, since I've seen every movement he's made his entire life, might the
You'd
difficulty
probably
go
have a
down?
difficulty for Cass because you had also been in his head. You would probably have a difficulty of like
Right.
12.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
It would still be a disadvantage, but it'd be a little.
Yeah.
This might be something we have to figure out in game, but like when they become a person, they're still themselves. They just look like the other person, correct?
Yes.
They don't gain knowledge that they.
No,
shouldn't
it's just a
have.
physical mimicry.
Okay, I have a plan then.
Why does Luther suddenly not like?
So, chat. Now is the time of the night where you guys get to do a thing. Would you like to give an extra fate point to Lost/Twiggy, Ace/Cassidius, Ares/Adiah, Greymane/Vanweth, or Morden/Luther? Luther. Ace. They can mimic a personality, but
Actively do
yeah,
it.
it's an active skill. Like they don't automatically know that person's. They don't automatically know anything that person knows. So they like. If that person knew a language that they don't know, they don't automatically like. If that person didn't know, Sylvan, and impersonated Twiggy, and Ace said something to Twiggy in Sylvan because he knows she speaks it, they wouldn't automatically be able to understand and respond just because they are mimicking someone that knows that language.
And if I talked to Luther and we had something way in our past that no one would know besides us,
Right.
literally they would have to know that information. If they don't know it, then
Right.
it's because they don't pick up that.
Right. So it's one of
And-
those things
and-
where you can do this with rolls, but more than likely you're going to have to do it with player chicanery when the
Actual,
situation comes up, which can also backfire because maybe that person does know Sylvan. So now you believe that Twiggy is Twiggy
Right.
when Twiggy isn't Twiggy. Or maybe that person did find out that information about the thing that you and Luther did because maybe he heard it or he scried it or he did 50-11 other ways to find out lost information in this game. So,
But it does also
They
matter
have a plan
whether.
that gets around all of that.
But it does also matter whether the face has like studied the person. Like if they just see a random person on the street, they may not know all the manners.
right. Also, if they're just trying to escape, they can literally walk around the corner and go 85-year-old, Jamaican grandmother
Right.
and just immediately just become a thing. And they won't necessarily act like that. They won't be mimicking a person. They'll be mimicking a
Right.
generality.
Archetype or yeah.
Right. In which case they can just blend in. All right, so we have a Luther, an Ace, a Twiggy,
I see 2 Luthers.
a Luther, a Van. So that's 2 Luthers. So we're going with the Luther.
All right.
Yay!
Get yourself arrested. Get yourself a fate point.
Yeah.
Wait, that's how that works?
Okay.
Man, I've been doing this wrong this whole time.
That sounds like a great plan. I am Luther is in a state of shock at the moment, so this is going to be interesting.
Yup.
Oh, there's a lot of that going around.
So this
Yeah.
was something that I had planned for a while, and I wasn't sure when or where I was going to use it. And then Thomas played the DM Have Fun card, so the DM had fun.
Okay. That was so
So
much
thank you,
fun.
Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Everyone is feeling sorry for the imposter.
I assure you, I will not even be playing with this aspect of the. I'm so bad at figuring stuff out.
This is
I'm
not
even
Ari's
gonna
gameplay.
try.
She's just like, nope, don't care.
I'm just not even playing with it. I'll be completely oblivious.
My
Adaya
brain
is
started
probably
with
not
the.
even worrying about it anyway, because Adaya is currently just going, how does breathing work again?
Yeah.
My brain started with the. Okay, wait a minute. Morden picks the nemesis thing, and it turns out his nemesis is his evil twin, who somehow
Yep.
followed us
That's
across
also
the
what I
wall.
was thinking. I was also thinking he had an evil twin.
He
I
has
mean-
one better. He has an evil twin that can look like any of us. Yeah, the most I may possibly be interacting with this is every time someone leaves and comes back, I might do an investigation. I'm gonna fail at everything.
As long as I have the spell slots, I have a plan.
Good for you.
Well-
Set everyone you come across on fire. That's not going to work well.
Yes, it will.
It'll totally work. Wait, I think the light on fire is.
No, I can read your thoughts. If it's not a certain person, if it's not one of you guys, they won't have your thoughts.
Thinking
I
in
mean,
character is very
For first
difficult.
thoughts,
Yeah.
they still probably.
I
will.
mean, I believe that statement was correct. Thinking as someone else is very difficult. It's not impossible.
True.
Correct,
It depends on
but-
how deep you
but
probe. Surface
if-
thoughts, it
If
might not
Cass
work.
talks to them and says, "Here's the plan. You're gonna let me in,"
I
and then guess
think-
what? Whoever's not there is not gonna let me in.
Right.
Or if they do, I'll have full access. and
I
know
would
that it's
agree
not
that
them.
you could probably do it with Luther and Tell because you know him so well, but you haven't been in Twiggy or Van Wath's or Adaya's heads enough. I mean, even Adaya hasn't been in her own head enough to really be able to know by the thoughts themselves if it was them or not.
You wouldn't think deep thought that the person's thinking about not getting caught. I'm not talking surface. I'm saying like doing the delve deep.
These are experts at
It's-
this.
it's
They're
a
not even
racial
thinking
capability.
about getting caught. Yeah.
Yeah.
They racially
so
know that they can
instinctive.
pass that they can pass polygraph tests. Therefore, they never worry about failing polygraph tests because they racially know they can always pass polygraph tests.
It's can you breathe? You know, like it's completely automatic.
But like,
It's in their nature.
So the way I look at it is they.
The scariest question is, where is the real Luther and is he okay? I mean,
I don't know. I'm
Who
gonna
is the
find that
real
one out,
Luther?
too. But the way I've looked at it, when I read the rules for the faceless, because I was
he was helping me
You-
play test it.
you believe that you are that person when you turn into them. So just looking at their thoughts may not be exactly enough. Now you might see
Yeah.
some changes if you know the person well enough, but like
see, but
they
like
believe
if someone tried to be Twiggy, even if they believe them, I'm pretty sure their ulterior motive of being Twiggy is still going to show up in their thoughts. won't
Under
it?
there somewhere.
Like
Possibly.
in their deep thoughts, they're still going to have that. Why am I in this?
No,
form?"
because in their deep thoughts, the faceless have no personality or identity of their own.
Of their own.
So they only have the personality
so
and
weird
identity
like
of the thing they're
that.
mimicking. Like if you had one of them in a zone of truth, for example, and they were mimicking Cassidius, and they said, "What is your name?" They would say, "I am Cassidius," and it would show up as truth.
So then, in that instance, then they should act exactly as I do. So they shouldn't do anything I wouldn't do, right? because they are believing they are me.
I
That
mean,
means if they're Twiggy, they should
They
act
can
like
also be-
Twiggy.
But they can also be believing that you, as Cass, want to do this thing that is their mission.
I mean, I would believe that Luther would set an old lady's house on fire.
I am not disagreeing with that, but I'm saying, let's say this person pretends to be Twiggy to come take out Luther.
Right.
If they become Twiggy, Twiggy would not want to take out Luther.
Correct.
Therefore, shouldn't have the alternative motive. So as soon as they become Twiggy, that motive
Well,
goes away, doesn't it?
using Twiggy as a specific example, let's assume that the person in question thought that Luther, for whatever reason, was a traitor. Twiggy, having served in the military, would kill traitors. So this creature, as Twiggy, would be acting within Twiggy's realm of action to murder a traitor.
See, okay.
It becomes
So
down to
you're not right, but you're also not wrong. Like, the devil's in the details. It's all in the formulation of thoughts.
Y'all are
But
too-
I
too
understand.
far.
She would feed him to death.
Feed him to
But
death.
anyway,
I
we're going to wrap
mean,
this one up because we're a bit over, and I'm going to have to cut some of
Yeah.
this anyway. We can keep talking for a little bit afterwards. But on behalf of Lost Without a Trace, Scorched Ace 97, Ari Cypress Everly, Greymane Gaming, Morden 56, thank you all very much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, please be a good werewolf, like and subscribe. And make sure you come and visit us Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we play this game, or Thursdays, where we play the one run by Morden. If you're watching this already on Twitch, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being here, even through all of my internet difficulties tonight, which I will, again, try to get sorted. We thought that it was fixed, but, I mean, you know how that works. So, everybody, thank you very much. Have a good evening. Crazy waves. We will talk to you all again very soon. Bye!